Welcome, welcome, welcome to Deepr Talk. I'm your host, Austin Webster. I'm the founder and CEO of Deepr. Today, I have the privilege, the ultimate privilege, of talking with one of my heroes, Narada Michael Walden. How you doing, sir?
Yeah. Austin, so nice to be here, man. I'm excited.
Man, this is one of the biggest items on our list. Is I wanted to talk to you when we started building Deepr because you are the ultimate person behind the scenes and in front of the scenes behind the music and soundtrack that has just played such a big role in pop music.
Thank you so much, Austin. I'm really glad that you've studied your music. You know what's going on. So I'm really I dig this whole thing, man. Yeah.
And the goal is for this conversation, a lot more people, especially the younger generation, are going to know who you are, and you're going to get your flowers.
I love flowers. I was telling you earlier, I put flowers on my drum set. It's just a beautiful thing what the flowers bring out in our hearts and our souls.
Yeah, man. So tell us, where are we talking to you from?
I'm sitting here at the console in Tarpan Studios in Santa Fe, California. I've had this studio since 1985.
Wow.
This is the board where we did Whitney Houston's second album. I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me, So Emotional, Where Broken Hearts Go, One Moment in Time, and then of course the third album, and even the Bodyguard soundtrack, and Whitney, and then Mariah's Visions of Love with the I Don't Want to Cry. She's been here. James Bond theme with Gladys Knight, License to Kill. Eddie Murphy's been here. OJ's, Al Green, Stings, Ray Charles, everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very blessed to be in this holy sanctuary of music.
That's phenomenal. That to have that kind of history, that you
Yeah,
can tell those stories,
yeah,
and from people that come in and use your studio and work, that you can say, there's a lot of legacy here.
yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. And even for Aretha, her tracks were done here. I did like Who's Doing Who, Freeway. We did like George Michael, I Knew You Will Wait. But the vocals were done in Detroit because Aretha won't fly. So I do
Okay.
all the music here,
Okay.
prepare for everything, then go out there and cut the vocals, come back here, comp it, put it together, and then mix it.
I'm sure that's a lot easier to do now with technology, right?
Yes, now we're doing sessions with the Temptations, with Journey, via Zoom, like we're doing now with you.
That's amazing.
It
That's
is amazing,
amazing.
right? Yeah, we get the microphones, and my engineer Jim is so clever. He can run the whole session on the Pro Tools from our side, and all you have to do is just sing over there.
Hey, how you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah,
You have a great team over there.
I do. Yeah.
So we're going to start from the beginning a little bit.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit. How did you get in the music industry first and foremost?
In the industry, well, as a kid, I got to start as a kid. I was always drawn toward music. I feel like I have a pact with God to. I asked God for the gift of music, and God says, "Yes, I'll give you the gift of music, but then you have to inspire the world to be more grateful."
There you go.
And so I feel like it's a bond I have with God to, in everything I do, to remain grateful and put a dose of that in the music.
There you go.
And I think that's part of what makes the music feel good. And so that's where it starts from. And then, professionally speaking, I was actually discovered through a genius guitarist. His name is Mahavishnu John McLaughlin.
Gotcha.
His band was called the Mahavishnu Orchestra. And when I saw him play in Hartford, Connecticut with Billy Cobham, Jan Hammer, Rick Laird, and Jerry Goodman, it was so awesome that it just changed my life. And I said to myself, I want to be like that. So as God would have it, when I met John McLaughlin that night, he said, well, a lot of what I'm doing is about prayer and meditation. I said, I can feel it because what you're doing is just so beyond. And so then he called me about a week later. He said, I want you to come and meet my meditation teacher. I said, okay. So I went, I met the meditation teacher. His name is Sri Chinmoy.
Okay.
And the teacher had so much peace about him and so much like light, the same kind of vibe I got from the Mahavishnu Orchestra concert, that I became a disciple that night.
Wow.
And I just kind of changed my life to kind of be more in tune with my heart, my spirit, think about God more.
Yeah.
And it just made everything kind of just shift in my life. And then what happened was I was asked to then, not long after, join the Mahavishnu Orchestra and play drums for them.
Wow.
So, and then I went from being a busboy in a restaurant, Mario's place, to playing with the Mahavishnu Orchestra in London with a Beatles producer, Sir George Martin. Overnight.
Whoa.
Overnight. I mean, I was ready as a drummer all my life.
Yeah.
But to be chosen was a big deal. So when you ask about professionalism and all that, that's what really happened, that my life made a big shift.
That is amazing.
I was about 20 years old.
20 years old.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing the world, your
Yeah.
talents are on display, and you're realizing that you have an ultimate purpose.
Yes.
That is fantastic.
Yes.
So now, as you kind of start to hone your chops, become a seasoned musician, professional musician,
yes,
you start, doing recorded music and kind of honing your talents.
Yes.
What was that like when you start realizing that, not only were you a drummer, you were just a musical force?
Well, I prayed for it. I would go in restaurants, and they have the little jukeboxes on the thing, the little, where you can play different songs. And I've always loved hit music. I've always loved the hits, and I would just pray that I could make hits for those little jukeboxes.
Wow.
I pray for that, and as it worked out, after I started having my own little hits with like, I Don't Want to Buzz Dance With You, I Should Have Loved You, Tonight I'm All Right, I have my own little kind of dance thing going on. Yeah. There's a great gentleman who's a president of Cotillion Records named Henry Allen.
Yes.
And he had a young artist that he loved named Stacy Latizal. She was maybe about 9-10 years old. I said, well, Henry, why don't you let me produce Stacy? And I'll do 4 songs. And if you like it, I can finish the album. If you don't like it, you haven't lost that much. And he said, okay, you're on. So then I took it very serious. I came back to San Francisco, got my band together, wrote the songs of Let Me Be Your Angel, Dynamite, Jump to the Beat, and My Love. And we cut them really quick so we'd be under budget. And I got Stacy to really, really just find the right keys and just explode her voice. And we had hits, man. So much so that the phone started ringing from Clive Davis, and everybody will, how do you feel about producing, Dionne Warwick or Aretha Franklin? Then it came Whitney Houston. And how do you feel about, Patty Austin and Phyllis Hyman and Angela Bofield? Everything just started percolating from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to put a pin because you took us right in the direction I wanted to go in.
Okay.
So, talking about Stacy Latizal.
Yes.
One of the things that's beautiful about Deepr is that you can unlock samples and unlock the history behind the music. And you hear songs sometimes on the radio that are hits, and you have no idea that they've been in a previous inclination in another genre, another era. And then when you start digging deeper, that's one of the reasons I found out who you were and what you've done in the past, because Attack of the Name Game. And the reason why I know this song is because of Mariah Carey's Heartbreaker record.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm gonna play a little bit of this. We're gonna jam out for a minute, and then we're gonna talk about your team behind the scenes.
Okay.
Down the street, keeping time with my feet, when I heard the strangest sound. I saw a spaceship scene and a man in green, and a crowd was gathered round. Well, I stepped up close just to get a little dose of his rhyming kind of game. Then he went.
Love that track.
Yeah.
The thing that strikes me so much, because when I realized that this was a sample, I was like, this sound was so innovative for its time when it came out. And then when I looked behind the scenes and realized all the players you had in your band, wow.
Yeah, man. That's Randy Jackson on the bass. Who became the great American Idol judge. I spoke to him just today, by the way. He's fantastic.
Awesome.
On guitar, with all that great guitar workers from Italy, Corrado Rustici. He's fantastic, and he brought the international flair to our sound. And on keyboards would be Frank Martin, who I'm still working with today. I love him very much. Preston Glass might have been involved at that time. And we were just really inspired for that song in particular The Tom Tom Club had a groove out. What are you gonna do when you get out of jail? I'm gonna have some fun. So I love that vibe they had, and then I loved the old school name game. When I first came out, Shirley, Shirley, Bo Burley, Banana Fanta, for Furley, me,
Wow.
Burley, Shirley. So I took that and combined the vibe for what I knew Stacy needed, and then Stacy had a little brother named Jerry. We decided to make Jerry a robot from outer space who could do all the name game stuff from outer space. So we had a whole concept, and it just kind of fell together, man. And we had a lot of fun making it.
That's amazing. When you said that, I got it. The Tom Tom Club, Genius of Love. I hear that. I see the influence immediately.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you talk about like Randy Jackson, and one of the things about you and Randy is that you were integrating rock acts, pop and soul, R&B and pop acts in the 70s and the 80s and 90s. It was just music. It wasn't any color lines, any color barriers or genres. You're like, if it feels good, we're going to be a part of it. And that's what I really love as I started to kind of go through the history of music. And so even just looking at what you've worked on drums and him as a bass player with Deepr, we could unlock that quickly. 108 songs, Angela Bofield, Aretha Franklin, of course, the great Aretha, multiple Clarence Clements. I mean, you guys you're like the Mount Rushmore of just session musicians, producers, songwriters, and that you guys have collaborated on all this music. We can just enjoy this all right now. I'm gonna save this playlist actually once we get done.
Okay, I love it. For me, I always liked picking musicians that came from jazz rock fusion.
There you go.
That means that they were very accustomed to playing, like Randy played with Billy Cobham, the #1 drummer in the world. So the fact that he could do that was like really impressive to me. So I like having guys like him, T.M. Stevens, Corrado, Frank, who could play any genre and then harness them into bringing all that energy into the funk or into the R&B or into the pop. Whatever I needed, they could bring their expertise. So I liked channeling the energy and having horses that could run really fast.
There you go.
So then the music would sound like it was like high charged. It wasn't just like, boring. No, it was super high charged. So that's what was part of the sound.
I can feel it. And I mean, when you start pulling back the layers of all the personnel, it's amazing. And that's what producing, I know it's shifted as music has evolved, but putting all those layers together to make that comprehensive sound that now just stands the test of time is a testament to you, man. So I love this track.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as we go on your journey, like you said, you start getting the calls from Clive Davis, Arista Records, has this young, phenomenal talent named Whitney Houston.
Yes.
And to know that you're going to be working with her, I'm sure you went into it kind of like, I just wanted to shoot my shot. I don't know what this is going to turn into. Ended up being a very, very, very fruitful relationship.
Yes. I'll take you. You want to know the actual story of that?
Sure, let's do it.
The story of working with Whitney, I was actually working on cutting Freeway and Who's Zooming Who for the Aretha Franklin, was very tunnel focused on the Queen of Soul.
Yep.
And it took a phone call from my friend at Arista named Jerry Griffith to call me and say, Narada, we have Sissy Houston's daughter, Whitney Houston, and we want you to produce a song. I said, but Jerry, right now I'm working on the Queen of Soul album. I can't be diverted with my energy right now. He said, yeah, but this is really important. You can make time for doing one song. I said, well, I love you, Jerry. What's the idea for the song? He said, well, I have a hook. It's called How Will I Know? I said, well, let's just send it to me. So he sent me the hook in a couple of days, and I listened to it. He had a great hook, but there was no real verses. So I called back and said, well, listen, Jerry, can I write some verses for it? That way I can make it happen quickly, or maybe I should pass. He said, no, let me call the writers. So he called George Merrill and Shannon Rubicam. Narada wants to put verses in the thing. Is that okay? They said, yeah, let him do it. So I got a call back. Yeah, go ahead and do it, Narada. So here I'm on the sessions with Randy, Corrado, Preston Glass, Frank, all my guys cutting Aretha's music. I say, okay, guys, pause.
Wow.
I'm going to go to the piano and bang out, there's a boy, don't, I know, don't, he's the one I treat, don't, don't. I bang it out, use what George Merrill had for their bridge, their chorus, put it together, make a modulation, have the band learn it, cut it. In 2 hours, we cut the record, the actual track. And Randy at that time was really prolific at making the roll sound on a Moog synthesizer with one finger.
Wow.
And so I'd use it on everything because that was like, It was very street sounding, very guttural, and it made these kind of pop songs have more nasty.
There you go.
You know what I mean? More grit.
Yep.
So we got so blessed by making that hot track. Then I asked the Whitney, I said, you know what? I got this jam now called How Will I Know on the phone. I hadn't met her yet. I said, but I'm going to start real high. Can you sing real high? She says, yeah, I can sing high. I said, but dig it. I started, there's a boy. That's the first line. She goes, I can do it. I said, okay. So I packed my tape up. I fly to New York. I meet her at Media Sound in New York with Michael Barbiero as my engineer.
Okay.
And when Whitney Houston walks in, I almost can't believe what I see. She is so stunningly beautiful. I just had to just stop and just look at her. She was just like you see in those pictures.
Yeah.
The hair, the cheekbones, the eyes, the smile, the confidence, the air of just, I'm it.
Yep.
Her legs, her feet, everything was just beautiful. Mm-hmm. Her fingertips. So I was like, okay. So she went in and she says, I know the song because I sent her the tape and she got the song. So I said, well, go sing it. And I'm telling you, those first 2-3 takes were just phenomenal. So much so, I said, well, come in and listen, because I'm in the booth. She's out there. I said, come and listen to what I have over here. And she would come in. If I'm sitting there, she'd sit here. She would just look at me. With the playback's going real loud on the speaker, she'd look at me like this. Well, you're me.
Okay.
Look at me like this. Like, do you hear what that speaker's telling you? I'd be like, damn, it sounds so great. And she's so confident looking at me, staring at me, like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. Muhammad
Ali would stare at you, right?
Confidence.
She'd look at me like that.
Yeah. Hearing
that sound blazing out of the speakers. You know, how will I know? Dun, dun, really love. She'd be looking at me like this. Wow. She's a force to be reckoned with. I've never experienced that before. I've never experienced on a playback someone stare me down. Because most people, quite frankly, are a little shy on a playback. They're kind of like, am I out of tune? I can make that better. All that kind of, not her. She was like this.
Really?
The whole record. So I was like, wow. Then I realized why Jerry called me and said, you better make time for Whitney Houston.
You got to make time.
That's when it really hit me. And then I said, well, let's go have a little bite of pizza. We walked down the street, bought a pizza. And then she says, I'm cutting on the album, The Greatest Love of All, the George Benson song. I said, Greatest Love of All? What are you going to do with that? She says, I have my own arrangements. At the time, I couldn't imagine what she was going to do with The Greatest Love of All that would make it hip, because we already heard it.
Yep.
When I heard her version, I go, oh, I see. You're making it really for the children, and a young Whitney going to come on the stage, and how you loved your mother, and the whole story, and we have to love ourselves.
Yep.
She really meant it.
There you go.
Like, oh my God, you're really bringing belief to these songs. It's not just a thing to you. It's like it's your life.
Passion. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was no joke that she exploded on that first album.
That is so amazing. I mean, taking a step back, you talk about your path with God and, your prayer, and the fact that at the same time he entrusted you with generational voices and talents. At the same time, the fact that you were working with Aretha and you had to make time to work with Whitney and then realize that what you had on your hands, I mean, that is phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. You're absolutely right. You're right. Yeah, man. And God bless us, man. We came back home, mixed it quickly, gave it to Arista Records. And Arista was very smart on the first album for Whitney. I have to say this about Clive and Jerry and that Arista team. They purposely put out the first song that Kashif wrote, You Give Good Love, to embrace R&B radio, the mom and pop stations, all the mom and pop stores, that she was one of ours.
Yes.
And then after that really became like number one. Then they came with the Save All My Love for You. Kind of gradually grow it. Then the whole world internationally went, wait a minute, this is a song for all of us. And they Save All My Love for You was like a huge smash. So when How I Know came out, that just ran to number one. Fastest rising number one we've ever had. Just number one, bam. Around the world.
Every country. The groundwork. They
prep
the world for the sound.
Yes, man. So I'm saying how they marketed her to make sure they didn't leave out the mom and pop people first was, I thought, a phenomenal move.
That's so interesting to think about just how music has evolved and the industry has changed now to where that strategy is not necessarily viable anymore. Now, all music is music. You know, you have country, you have pop, you have hip hop, but if it's a hit, there's no urban radio. I mean, there is urban radio, but it doesn't have to be pigeonholed in that box. It can expand quickly. So I think, you know, as Whitney kind of evolved and you guys have realized that you had this success formula on her, you know, next album, you guys got together again, and I Want to Dance with Somebody, which is the song that my kids know verbatim, my wife knows verbatim. It's just a legacy song, in my opinion, because it can be played in commercials, no matter if you're selling oil changes, whether you're selling, you know, kids' clothes. It's just that record that transcends everything. So let's play a little bit of this, your work with Whitney, and then we're going to go a little bit behind it with the personnel.
Okay.
That hit stands the test of time. Great work.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, Austin.
So the one cool thing, as we can, you know, start dissecting this song and looking at the players that you have on your team, you have a unique cast that everyone, you can see them on. There's a consistent trend on your records. The people that you're working with, the Preston Glasses, the Randy Jacksons, the Walter Afanasievs. How did you assemble this team and then keep the consistency of like, hey, I got more work, more opportunities, like the A-Team, if you will, 80s reference, but some people get it. I mean, to me, that's the cool part, is that you were able to channel all these talents into this unique sound.
Well, I loved Motown. Motown had a house band. You know, it would change every now and again, but it had a house band that would make everything sound good. So I've always loved that concept. I always love the concept when I lock in with Randy, I lock in with whoever are my guys. I don't want to change too much because those guys now know how I work, and I work really fast. So I need cats that can keep up like that. No, change that. No, not B flat. B go to A. No, change it, modulation. So we work it all out really quickly. So once the guys knew my pace, I don't want to change it. Almost like you say, the A-Team, the football team. Once they know how I want to move and they can do it, then that was it. And that stable of guys cut 50 records, if not more.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen them, and I'm just like, oh, I mean, the DNA is strong, and you guys were feeling it, man. I mean, it's good stuff, great stuff.
But what I want to say about this is a song like I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me. The reason to me, while it's still got legs today, we intentionally made an outhouse bottom with a penthouse view.
Oh, okay.
And what that means is, in my mind, I want to feel them drums, that bass. It's nasty. Like I go to a little old bar in Kalamazoo, Michigan. A little black bar in Kalamazoo, Michigan. There's a lady with a little hole in her stocking.
Yep.
She want to get up and dance. I want that in my brain.
Yeah.
At the same time, on the top side, all that pretty harmony work. Now we're on Jackie Onassis' boat with Kennedy and all, and they want to party. So I bring all those worlds together. I'm conscious of all the worlds. I want to make everybody just feel good. So I think that's why that record has lasted test of time. That black bottom, which you cannot beat. You cannot beat with an overall international penthouse view.
I think that's so cool. That is so cool. I think the one thing you talked about, just the different cultures, and
Yeah,
you seeing this resonate with those cultures, and this, like I said, we've been 80s, 90s, 2000s, in the
yeah,
future,
yeah,
still present.
yeah.
So obviously, Whitney, Aretha, you've established yourself as the go-to man behind the scenes to make their voices come out, the sounds resonate with the people and the masses. So then you start working with an artist named Jermaine Stewart. And I think this song is funny. As I discovered this, over the years, I'm starting to hear more commercials, more movies and TV shows. And that to me, the sync opportunities with this song is just a fun song. But when you start listening to the saxophone and the instruments and all the different tools behind the music, it's catching. You can't not deny it. So I'm gonna play the song and then we're gonna dive in.
Okay.
Not a word from your lips. Just took for granted that I want to skinny dip. A quick hit, that's your game. Girl, I'm not a piece of meat. Stimulate my brain. Night is young, so are we. Let's get to know each other better, slow and easily. Take my hand, let's hit the floor. Shake your body to the music, maybe then you score. So come on, baby, won't you show some class? Why you wanna move so fast? We don't have to take our clothes off to have a good time. Oh no, we could dance and party all night, dance all night, and drink some cherry wine. We don't have to take our clothes off.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Ha.
Wow, there's so much to unpack with this song. First and foremost, the lyrics. How did you guys come up with this? I mean, that to me is like it's so catchy and fun.
That okay? You know what? That's the genius of Preston Glass.
I'm glad.
Yeah, Preston gave me a cassette with 5 songs on it, and he would do this almost every weekend. And one time in my hot tub, I took the cassette that had 5 songs on it, and on the tape, I listened to all 5 songs, and the 5th song in is this idea he put down: we don't have to take our clothes off. I was like, damn, we don't take our clothes off to have a good time. We can drink some cherry wine. It's all right, you know. I was like, that's so clever. That's Preston's genius. So I said, Preston, this guy, Jermaine Stewart, that would be kind of cool for him because he's kind of wild. He's a wild guy. So we actually designed it. I just moved in this studio in '85, and that record was one of the first records beside the Clarence Clemens, you're a friend of mine. That was around the same time when we first opened our doors. So we had a good time meeting Jermaine Stewart, who's an electric personality, had his hair all straight on one side, and could dance his ass off, sing all those things, you know. And we just carved it for him. But it's really Preston, who was so genius, just to give me a little cassette. And then on the 5th song down, there was that idea. I was like, that is so unique, Preston. So that's how it happened.
Yeah, Preston Glass is one of those unsung heroes as well. When you look at his discography as well, which you can look in the Deepr app and see some of the songs that he's worked on, he had a great sound. And it's again, you talked about the Motown influence and putting together these different talents and bringing them together. A lot of these gentlemen went off on their own and did other great works by themselves, but I mean, when you guys came together, you created something special. And this song, I mean, it's just the energy, the saxophone. That's the other thing we'll talk about. Your incorporation of the saxophone in your songs. Talk a little bit about some of your session saxophone players. I'll scroll down so we can look exactly who was on this track. We got Russell Tubbs and Mark Russo.
Yeah, Mark Russo. Mark Russo is a guy who's local. I discovered him. He was about 18 years old. He came to my house and he played so good. I put him immediately on a song called "I Should Have Loved You." His sound was just awesome. I had him open the whole song up with that great sax solo he's got. Because in my brain, I'm from Kalamazoo, Michigan, not far as a place called Battle Creek, where Junior Walker comes from. So we all love that sax.
Yeah.
And I worked with Clarence Clemens. I love the sax for Freeway of Love. That horn, it was right. Makes people go like, whoa! It just takes it higher. Like in the rock world, the guitar does that. But in the R&B world, I think the horn can do it too. You see. So we just love to let these cats go. Russell Tubbs is my spiritual brother. I call him Premik. He's also a brilliant sax player. Played on How Will I Know? That sax solo, that's him. Baby, Baby, Come to Me, that's him playing on that too. And he's my old friend. I just love him so much. He can also play sax with the Mahavishnu Orchestra. So I'm saying these guys all come from different walks of life that just bring into it the season that we need.
There you go.
The garlic, the onion, the paprika.
That's so cool, because I mean you're right. It's funny, you hear the sax coming back in the pop music now with The Weeknd and Kenny G, and a lot of like a Dua Lipa stuff as well has that sax, because it's that feeling you can't lose it.
That's right. We try to do other stuff on the synthesizers, but there's nothing like a horn, man.
Nothing like it. So you in the late 80s and 80s, you were dominating pop radio. You were an unstoppable force. But then the one thing that I've learned about your catalog, you really mastered the Quiet Storm format, in my opinion.
Okay.
And you think about Regina Belle, Baby Come to Me. I mean, this is the music you heard on the radio at night. You know, obviously the urban radio format created the Quiet Storm for people, you know, long time romance, you know, winding down from a long day, drinking a glass of wine, creating that vibe and that feeling. You create these soundscapes with your team that we're gonna play a couple of these tracks, but then looking at the influence of that and where it ended up going, I think it's just very, very cool. So we're gonna talk about "Baby Come to Me" by Regina Belle. We're gonna play a little bit of this, and then we're gonna dive in.
Okay.
Silver moon shining on my bed beside my pillow, light the pathway to bring that man to me. Oh, something tells me my words go straight to his heart, and something tells me you will be all mine. Baby, come to me, 'cause I love you, thinking of you. Oh, baby, come to me.
Yeah. That's the great Regina Belle. And let me tell you, she's the modern incarnation of Billie Holiday.
I can see that.
Yes. And when she put the orchid in her hair, everything about her had that deep, deep soul. And in fact, after we cut the track, I took her and my percussionist, Gigi Ganaway, to Maui, Hawaii, to record her vocals in George Benson's studio, to get the vibration of the ocean waves and the feeling and the smell of the air of Hawaii in that record. And that's part of the beauty of that record. It was cut here, the track, with Walter A., who's genius on the keyboards, and my A team, but the vocals were done in Hawaii. And I wanted that particular feeling.
So again, that's crazy that I didn't envision Hawaii, but I can see the relaxation, the waves crashing, and all that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But when I got introduced to this song was through a group called Crisscross.
Okay.
I will play you this sample. I want to get your thoughts on this because this is where, and then when I realized that this was a sample, that's what kind of threw me on the rabbit hole.
I devoted my whole life to rocking mics, getting crowds lifted, put my pants on backwards cause I wanted to be different. I keep some with a crease, timepiece, burnt a Lucia house full of hundreds, sporting Gucci, cutting Gucci, I'm the man, girl.
Yeah.
So that was like growing up, that album, that song, I mean, that's a classic staple. And to see that it was pivoted into this kind of cool hip hop song, how does that make you feel?
I love it. Quite, if I'm honest with you, I'm not that familiar with that version. I've only heard it a little bit in my life. I'm not that familiar, but I love it. I love how the hip hop mentality makes the drum even 10 times louder than I would have done it. They make it boo, tuka, boo, do tuka, boo, tuka. It's really, really, really loud.
Yeah,
that's part of the hip hop attitude. So I love it. Yeah,
I just thought that Southern hip hop group taking that sound that was crafted in Hawaii and creating this kind of hip hop cultural staple. That's the beauty of music. That's why I love sampling so much and why we kind of featured a lot in the Deepr app to allow you to make those discoveries, because taking what you created and shifting it, like you said, taking those flavors and the seasoning and making a whole new dish with it. It's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's wonderful.
So as we kind of round to the third base, I wanted to kind of play another song. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Memphis has a tremendous music history with Stax, hip hop artists such as 3 6 Mafia and 8 Ball MJG, and now Yo Gotti and David Porter, Isaac Hayes. That's what I grew up on. And so Lisa Fischer, How Can I Ease the Pain? Again, at this point in your career, you are mastering, in my opinion, that Quiet Storm sound that, I mean, you just play it at night, on the boat, just let it ride and just enjoy the waves, enjoy the water, enjoy your friends and your company and whatnot. And it creates that great soundscape. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna talk about what this kind of shifted into.
Okay. Wow, the great Lisa Fischer. Okay, this is a track Lisa and I wrote together a song to touch on the pain that a woman feels when she loves someone, but she knows that person is abusive. She knows that person can't really control their own emotion from hurting her. So it's a very sensitive issue. how to make a song that can get out in the world about abuse in a way. So I said, how can I ease the pain when I know you're going to hurt me again? Well, I love you so much, I'm caught in this love. So Lisa is the right one who could sing it with that balancing act of the soft to the strong to the soft to the I'm going to cry to the strong again. And then she has that fifth octave on the ending where she goes so super high. It's like in the dog range. So she's just a genius. And when we recorded her vocal, she had a little fantasy of wanting a bed. Maybe there's some red satin sheets. We put the bed out there, the red satin sheets, and the brass bed. Mic her up on the brass bed. She's singing that on the brass bed. So
wow,
this is in my mind. And the track, I got to say, is Louis Bianconello working with me. He's so special. And it was really thought about to make sure it's beautiful in the pop sense, but then it's also very nasty R&B with that little ghetto cowbell.
There you go.
That you might hear on a Keith Sweat record.
There you go.
You mix those things together to make sure, again, the outhouse bottom with a penthouse view.
Outhouse bottom, penthouse view. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like you created the soundscape with these tracks. So then you look at what that inspired. I'm gonna play you something that this is what I grew up on. 3 6 Mafia Late Night Tip.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with this, but I'm gonna play a little bit of this. What do you think when you hear that, taken from what Lisa Fisher and that pain and that anguish, and you try what your vision was with the original song, to hearing that it turned to this Southern hip hop staple that it is now with Late Night Tip?
I'm honored. I'm very honored that the new generation, the young generation, can pick up on what we put down and take it and use it and be creative with it. That shows me that we made real music that can live forever. So I'm very proud. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's to me that's what's so special about your talent and what God has put in you is that your gift continues to reverberate not just from the work that you've done, but then people taking your work and also kind of mixing and mashing it and letting it influence new generations and new households that wouldn't have experienced it before.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I'm a big fan.
Thank you, Austin. I'm a fan of yours.
Thank you. But the idea that, being able to talk to legends like you who have just done so much for culture, for music, and push just trends forward, being able to talk with you and have these discussions, I think is critical for our younger generation and people who don't know.
Yeah.
They know Whitney Houston and know Jermaine Stewart, but now they know Narada Michael Walden. Yeah. They should Deepr talk.
Well,
so
I would hope that you could make a part 2 because we have so much music we could talk about. If you make a part 2, then we can get into even more because there's so much there. And I'm so excited by this whole process of look how you started, look what it became, look what it is now. All that's cool.
I'm happy you said that because that's coming, man. Because I had to whittle down this list. This was hard.
Cool.
Well, thank you for joining Deepr Talk. I'm Austin Webster. This is Narada Michael Walden. And until next time, part 2 coming soon. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much. I love it. Thank you, Austin.